What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including Stone Cold Steve Austin sets CM Punk straight, WWE's big cover-up that's coming back to haunt them, Rey Mysterio talks retirement, Paul Heyman blasts Sami Zayn, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now let's hit the intro and get straight into the first story. Now, our first story looks at WWE being called out over a cover-up and scandal years ago, which has now come back to haunt them. Did the WWE cover up a scandal involving former ring boy Tom Cole? It's a story that we've covered in an episode of the Behind the Titantron series, and now the case has taken a tragic turn, as reported by David Bixenspan, as the accuser has now taken his life. If you don't know this story, then start with my BI feature from October. Something I should make clear, as I have a feeling it may come up. Tom Cole never changed his story. Yes, there were periods where he was more forgiving of the McMahon/WWE, and yes, as more time passed, he got vague in public about what happened, but he never changed his story. Lee Cole, brother to Tom Cole, tweeted this directed to the McMahons and their negligence of letting such a person into their company. Tom Cole's brother also promised to pursue the case legally. Note to Vince and Linda, I will do everything in my power legally and make sure that you answer for the lives you have destroyed. I asked Twitter to please not let these people shut me down. They are despicable human beings. Believe me, they will come for me. Now we'd like to send our condolences to Tom Cole's family and friends. Next up is Stone Cold Steve Austin setting CM Punk straight. Stone Cold Steve Austin isn't holding back when it comes to CM Punk's recent Twitter Q&A, where wrestling straight-edge superstar responded to what an Austin vs Punk match would be like. He tweeted it would have been short, GTS 123. To no one's surprise, the internet lit up over Punk's remarks, with various memes and comments being made. However, when Stone Cold saw a meme about Punk's controversial comments, he tweeted, "Horseshit. Punk didn't say that. Y'all made that shit up." Punk even went along tweeting, "I never say that. Steve is right. Give me an old hell yeah." However, the internet wrestling community remembers, and Punk's weary remarks eventually found its way to Austin. The Texas Rattlesnake tweeted, "I see CM Punk. You did say that. Damn. Complete delusion. I had us at 60-minute time limit match at the Rosemont Horizon. Right there in Chicago, Shaytown, the Windy City, hell of a match. Caught you with a stunner at 59.56. You did not kick out, bottom line." It's nice to see Austin take the high road on this one, and while Punk has a well-earned reputation for stirring the pot, there's really no explaining this one. Perhaps Punk and Austin decided to prank the IWC, or maybe Punk is the tweeting equivalent of a drunk dialer, or in his case, a punch-drunk dialer. Next up, Rey Mysterio talks retiring from the ring. Incredible as it may seem, Rey Mysterio has been wrestling since he was 14 years old, and now that he's 46, fans can't help but wonder when the master of the 619 plans on retiring. Rey spoke about retirement during an appearance on the Not About Wrestling podcast, saying,
"We all know the way wrestling goes. I mean, eventually you're going to have to retire. You're going to have to move on just because that's the way the world works. Is Dominik your retirement match?"
I think more than, and I haven't thought about like him retiring. I've thought about winning gold together.
Okay.
And a lot of people have said, I can see Dominic retiring you and you fighting your son. Like, yeah, that's what everyone would expect to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But why not leave the ending of this story happy on a high note, and
Right.
retiring with my hands raised up high, Mayweather style. I'm hoping I can be the first one to say, okay, that's it, and that's it.
Rey recently signed a new deal with the WWE, so don't expect him to go anywhere soon, especially since he seems to be thrilled to be working alongside his son Dominik. As for fighting Dominik, there have been rumors circulating lately that Dominik is going to turn heel, something which would make a father versus son match inevitable. Next up is Dominik donning a mask. One question that's also come up is whether Rey's son Dominik will ever mask up, paying tribute to his dad and Lucha Libre in general. Rey also discussed this, pointing out,
Was there ever any thought to Dominik wearing a mask?
Yes, as a matter of fact, there was. The only issue there was that he was getting so much promotion or publicity without the mask prior to him starting to wrestle. when I did the storyline with Samoa Joe with Brock, and we just felt like, well, maybe it might be a little too late to mask him now. Now he does. We talked about it. We would love to incorporate the mask somehow, some way, so the legacy continues. Even if they know his face already, I think we can start a new trend where, Dominik is the person outside of the ring, and Dominik Mysterio is the person inside the ring with the mask.
Do you think Dominik should wear a mask or carve out his own identity? The WWE might eventually have Dominik don a mask for no other reason than to boost merchandise sales. Next up, New Japan Pro Wrestling working with Impact. Well, there have been 2 major wrestling collaborations recently, and it appears there may be a third. The team up between AEW and Impact has fans talking, as has AEW's recent work with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Now it appears New Japan Pro Wrestling is working with Impact as well, with Impact playing a video at the end of its 13th February No Surrender pay-per-view announcing the imminent arrival of New Japan stars David Finlay, the son of Fit Finlay, and Juice Robinson. PW Insider is reporting that the deal was being negotiated prior to AEW's team up with New Japan, and according to Wrestling News' Paul Davis, the Impact New Japan Pro Wrestling relationship has been in the works for several months. Obviously, Harold Meiji's exit from New Japan opened the doors for talks to begin, but the Good Brothers being signed to Impact was also a big help since New Japan Pro Wrestling has been interested in them. This is big news as fans can't help but wonder where the collaboration between these 3 promotions will lead. While the current pandemic makes it next to impossible for stars to bounce back between the US and Japan, but fans could see some huge interpromotional matchups once travel restrictions are lifted. With the members of the current Bullet Club trash-talking former members, a dream match between the different Bullet Club members could make some serious dough for all involved. There could be a long-term plan driving AEW's recent relationships with New Japan and Impact. At least Forbes' reporter Alfred Konuwa thinks so, as Konuwa talked to Wrestling Inc. daily podcast about what he thinks could be behind the partnerships and AEW streaming service. If Tony Khan was to work with different wrestling companies for an AEW streaming service, I think that might be the long play, and why is he working with New Japan and Impact Wrestling? This is just speculation. This is why I think he's doing it. I think he's got this in his mind because if AEW is going to make the type of money that WWE is making, it's going to be on content. It's going to be on streaming. They're not going to make this money on pay-per-view. Obviously, the current collaboration is designed for all 3 promotions to bring in new viewers and make money, but Konuwa's comments are interesting. Would you guys be interested in an AEW streaming service? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, a WWE superstar was punished by Vince McMahon for 6 months. A Cat Angle's new podcast has revealed some interesting insights into Angle's career as well as behind-the-scenes stories. One such story concerns Cedric Alexander, who Angle claims was disciplined for disobeying Vince McMahon. You look at what they've been doing with Alexander, the Hurt Business. He got in a little trouble last year. He didn't do something that Vince wanted him to do, and if you don't listen to your boss, things could get a little bit, depressing for you. And he didn't listen the one night, and they scolded him for half a year before they started using him again, and rightfully so, he should have listened. That is his job, it's to listen to Vince and do what Vince tells you to do, and he didn't do that. So I thought, wow, this kid's career is over, when that happened, and Vince eventually gave him another chance. Alexander actually made out well, as some wrestlers have seen their careers sent to WWE Phantom Zone for years thanks to crossing the boss. Just look at Titus O'Neil's career right now, and that was just for playing a joke. And finally, Sami Zayn is a prick. Now, while many members of the WWE Universe would agree that Sami Zayn is it's rare that fans are seeing a heel calling out another heel, especially in such strong terms. Nevertheless, that's what happened when Paul Heyman appeared on Talking Smack, discussing how he wants Zayn to win the Elimination Chamber match and go on to wrestle Roman Reigns. Sami's right, there's a conspiracy against him. I was executive director of Monday Night Raw. Sami was on Raw. I conspired against him every week. I don't like the guy, he's a prick. Sami Zayn is an annoying heel and plays the role well, but is the WWE planning on changing Zayn's act or simply letting Heyman get fans talking? Well, let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.